Hello, I'm Simon Whistler, you're watching Top 10's Net, and in the video today, we're looking at the top 10 most villainous rulers. Throughout the history of mankind, there have been some rulers that use fear and terror to gain control of their people. They rule with an iron fist and an unrelenting thirst for power and recognition. Now, unfortunately for society, there were too many of them to fit on this list, so in the video we're just gonna list the worst of the worst.
The top 10 most awful villainous rulers. Number 10. Attila the Hun. Widely known as the Scourge of God, Attila ruled the Hunnic Empire with his brother Bleda from around 434 until he murdered him in 445. After Rome refused to pay him tribute, he attacked a stretch of land along the Danube. The Balkans and Greece were his next target, with each victory weighing heavily on the Roman treasury. Before he left for Gaul, Western Emperor Valentinian's sister, Honoria, offered herself to Attila, and he accepted, demanding half of the Western Roman Empire as her dowry, which was refused. After the defeat to King Theodoric in Gaul, he turned his army on Italy in an attempt to reclaim Honoraria as his bride. Disease stopped Attila's advance, and with Pope Leo I acting as a middleman, he negotiated a peace treaty with Valentinian. In the midst of preparing an attack on Constantinople, and while celebrating his marriage to Idiko, he suffered a severe nosebleed and choked to death. However, legend suggests that he was murdered, possibly by his new bride. While some consider him a great ruler, most people consider him a ruthless barbarian warlord. Number 9. Ivan the Terrible. Born in 1530, Ivan was taught by his boyars how to be the Grand Prince of Moscow, a title he was given after his father's death in 1533. In 1547, Ivan crowned himself the first Tsar, God's anointed, of Russia. He set into motion a number of reforms, including lessening the boyars' power, confirming the position of the church, and restricting the mobility of peasants with the new laws. In 1565, Ivan formed the Oprichnia, a section of northeast Russia that was ruled solely by him and policed by Oprichniki. In the latter part of his reign, he was desperate for his realm to reach the sea and launched Russia into the 24-year Livonian War against Swedes, Lithuanians, Poles, and Livonian Teutonic Knights. After drought, famine, and an epidemic of the plague that killed between 600 to 1,000 people daily in Moscow alone, Ivan became mentally unstable, and his oprichniks got out of hand and quickly became incredibly violent. In 1581, in a fit of rage, he killed his eldest son and heir, Ivan, by striking him in the head with his pointed staff. He died in 1584 while playing chess. A later examination of his remains found that he was poisoned with mercury. Number 8. Benito Mussolini. Known to many as Il Duce, the leader, Mussolini's political career began in 1900 when he became a member of the Socialist Party. After serving in World War I, he formed the National Fascist Party in 1919 and advocated for aggressive nationalism and forcible restoration of order, as well as ruthlessly opposing communists and socialists. He was elected to parliament in 1921, and the next year he sent fascists to march on Rome, and Mussolini was granted joint leadership with King Victor Emmanuel III. He transformed Italy into a dictatorship, taking control of all spheres of political, social, economic, and cultural life, and executed his opposition with the help of the secret police and fascist party militia. Despite his distrust in Hitler, he aligned himself with Germany during World War II. Hitler pressured Mussolini into adopting an anti-Semitic policy in Italy, which, along with the previous wars against Ethiopia and Spain, led to widespread unpopularity. He was dismissed by the king in 1943 and was imprisoned until he was rescued by German troops. While trying to escape to Switzerland in 1945, he was captured by Italian partisan troops and shot. His body, and the body of other fascists, was dumped on the ground of the Piazza Loreto in Milan, where it was shot, kicked, and spat upon, before being hung from meat hooks at a gas station and stoned by civilians. Number 7. Mao Zedong. Commonly referred to as Chairman Mao, he began his career as a soldier during the 1911 revolution, after which he returned to school. In 1921, he attended the National Congress of the Communist Party of China, and in 1923 was elected as Commissar of the Central Committee. In 1931, he was elected as chairman of the Socialist Republic of China, and in 1934, he led the Red Army on the Long March which pushed him to the forefront as the most important communist leader. After the Second Sino-Japanese War and a civil war, he continued his leadership of the new People's Republic of China. In an attempt to revive the Chinese economy, Mao established the Great Leap Forward, a program that favored industry over agriculture. The result was a famine that killed between 20 and 30 million people. The failure of the Great Leap Forward led to Mao being replaced as chairman of the Central Government Council in 1959 by Liu Shaoqi. However, he remained chairman of the Communist Party. He reasserted his power in his last years with the Cultural Revolution, which purged all capitalist and elitist culture. Number 6. Idi Amin. Beginning his military career as a private of the British Army in Uganda in 1946, Amin quickly rose through the ranks. After charges of brutality, the British tried to get Prime Minister Obote to prosecute him, but to no avail, and when Uganda became an independent nation, Amin helped Obote to create army training camps. In 1971, he staged a coup and became the president of Uganda. He was a charismatic man that immediately gained popularity with the common people, but this didn't last. He ordered the execution of 600 troops who were loyal to Obote and purged entire ethnic groups from within his army. With 3 separate security organizations, the Military Police, the Public Safety Unit, PSU, and the State Research Center, he consolidated power by giving them the power to arrest and execute citizens and seize properties at will. During his rule, he killed between 100,000 and 500,000 mostly innocent civilians, tortured thousands more, and looted Uganda's treasury. After a war with Tanzania, he was forced into exile, first in Libya and then in Saudi Arabia, where he died of hypertension and kidney failure in 2003. Number 5. Leopold II of Belgium. Born in 1835 to King Leopold I, he grew up as heir to the Belgian throne. He became a member of the Senate in 1855 and instantly began to push for colonization in Africa and Asia. When he became king, and with the help of explorer Henry Morgan Stanley, he organized the International Association for the Exploration and Civilization of the Congo, and at the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885, the Congo Free State was established, with Leopold as its ruler. He amassed a huge personal fortune by exploiting the Congolese people through forced labor, especially in the rubber industry. Enslavement and mutilation ran rampant, with an estimated death toll between 2 and 30 million. When news broke of his atrocities in 1905, British and American pressure forced Leopold to hand over the Congo to the Belgian government, and thus it became the Belgian Congo. Number 4. Joseph Stalin. Born in 1894, he first turned his attention to theological study before converting to Marxism and joining the Social Democrat Party. He fought his way to power by pushing out rivals and former allies, eventually becoming the dictator of the USSR. In 1928, he began his 5-year plans, aggressive industrial and agricultural programs which left thousands of peasants dead, as well as getting rid of his political opposition through purge trials and secret executions. This was a part of the Great Purge that was aimed at members of the Communist Party who were accused of sabotage, terrorism and treachery, and at this time he was deporting ethnic minorities. He began World War II allied with Nazi Germany, but when Hitler turned on him, he took control of the military and sided with Britain and the United States. After the war, he consolidated power in the Soviet Union against capitalist threats. He became paranoid in his later years, which led him to persecute his closest collaborators. Stalin died in 1953 of a cerebral hemorrhage, and after his death, Nikita Khrushchev and other Soviet leaders accused him of tyranny, terror, falsification of history, and self-glorification in a period called de-Stalinization. Number 3. Queen Ranavalona I of Madagascar. Also known as the Mad Queen of Madagascar, Ranavalona I seized power in 1828 after her husband Radama's death, and some even say she poisoned him. At the beginning of her reign, she promised to restore customary rights and old beliefs, as well as giving control back to priests, judges, and slave merchants. Paranoid of European colonization, she persecuted and expelled all foreigners. This led to her violently persecuting native Christians, and when it didn't eradicate Christianity, she had everyone who owned a Bible executed. The executions were less than successful, then she retaliated by dangling 15 Christian leaders 150 feet above a rock-filled ravine, and when they refused to denounce Christ and pray to her idols, their ropes were cut and they fell to their deaths. Slaves were completely disposable to Ranavalona, and more than 1 million were killed in ritual executions, including 10,000 in a single week during her buffalo hunt. And they weren't just killed, but they were tortured, usually by throwing them repeatedly from hilltops, boiling them alive, or sewing them up to the neck in a freshly slaughtered buffalo hide, and either left to rot or fed to wild dogs. She died peacefully in her sleep in 1861, after a terrifying 33-year rule. Number 2. Vlad Dracula. Also known as Vlad the Impaler, the Prince of Wallachia was born in 1431 at a time when his lands were under the control of the Ottoman Empire, and as his father's second, he was held hostage as a boy with his younger brother Radu. After the deaths of his father and older brother, he took the throne at the age of 17. The beginning of his rule was spent ridding Wallachia of all those who were threats to his power. His favourite means of execution was impalement, in which a stake is inserted into the body and left upright until the stake makes its way through the body, a slow and painful death that could last for days. While accounts vary, the amount of people who suffered by his hand ranged from between 40,000 to 100,000, and most were tortured in some form. It is also said that when an invading Ottoman army found the forest of corpses outside Targa Viste, they turned and fled. Vlad died in a battle near Bucharest in 1476 and was buried in Snagov Monastery, although archaeologists have been unable to find his burial site. A strict defender against Turkish rule, even today Vlad is considered a hero to the people of Romania. In 1897, he was immortalized as a blood-sucking vampire in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Number 1. Adolf Hitler. Born in Austria in 1889, in his early years he worked as a painter before becoming a Bavarian soldier in 1914. After World War I, he became a member of the National Socialist German Workers' Nazi Party, and in 1921 he became the chairman. With hyperinflation, political chaos, and the possibility of a communist takeover that happened after the war, Hitler offered solutions, and he took control of a coalition government in 1933 and was later given dictatorial powers. At the beginning of his Third Reich, he murdered political opposition and bullied smaller nations into giving him land. He then began World War II when he aligned with the USSR and invaded Poland. His need for expansion of Germany drove him to attack or bully Austria, Czechoslovakia, France, Great Britain, Greece, Yugoslavia, Denmark, Norway, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Belgium, and eventually his ally, Russia. Driven by his anti-Semitic views, Hitler sought to create a perfect Aryan race by eliminating Jews. He stripped the Jews of the right to be a part of society and set up concentration camps where they were either brutally used as slave labor, gassed, or shot. The Holocaust is one of the worst atrocities in the history of mankind, and it killed more than 6 million Jews and millions of Roma, Gypsies, communists, political leaders, and intellectuals. Facing defeat, Hitler and his wife, Eva Braun, committed suicide on April 30th, 1945.
So while you probably didn't like those leaders, I sure hope you liked the video. Show it by clicking that like button below, it really helps out. Also, in the comments, do you think we got this list right? Should there be a villainous ruler on the list that we missed out? Do let us know, we love your comments, read them all, reply when we can, so just let me know below. Also, if you liked this video, I'm going to link over to a couple more over on the right there. One is the top 10 most prolific executioners who actually love their jobs, and another is about the top 10 medieval games and sports that may or may not kill you. So I hope you like those, and thank you for watching.